Welcome to Movies That Matter, the podcast about recent films going above and beyond the call of box office returns to boldly explore a social issue affecting people's lives. I'm Nicole Finari, and with me today is...
Christopher Robinson.
And what movie we're going to overanalyze this week?
Isn't It Romantic?
Directed by Todd Strauss-Schulson, the film stars Rebel Wilson as a young woman who, after getting hit on the head, wakes up in a world where everything around her plays out like a romantic comedy film. Also starring Liam Hemsworth, Adam Devine, and Priyanka Chopra. What did you think?
I enjoyed it, but it was, it's a B minus, but it's enjoyable. It was fun. It was kind of a nice palate cleanser, I guess.
Okay. Well, it is romantic comedy season.
Yes.
We did another one, so it can't help but compare it a little bit to what men want. And this one got much higher reviews. Yeah,
and I think it's doing all right in the box office. But I think, like you said on your podcast, what men want was more of a workplace comedy.
Yeah, it was. But I'm just a little frustrated that everybody trashed What Men Want, and everybody was so forgiving of this one. And I feel a little bit like... Has Rebel Wilson earned goodwill that Taraji P. Henson has not? Because it just seems a little unfair.
Hey, but this had a great dance. Two dance performances, and that can make up for a lot.
So I thought there were so many elements of the movie that I liked, except the hole at the center, in fact, was Rebel Wilson for me.
Oh, okay. I'm okay with Rebel Wilson. I think she's been enjoyable in the movies I've seen her in. I like her physical comedy. And yeah, she's okay.
I definitely liked the physical comedy. I just she's not a star to me.
Oh, wow.
Like, she doesn't care.
She's a secondary character?
Yeah, she doesn't have enough to, hold my attention for a whole movie.
Okay, I can't really argue with that. She doesn't have that it factor, that charisma for it.
No, she doesn't.
I won't argue with that. She's likable enough.
Yeah, and I want to get into all the romantic comedy elements, but I think there was a giant problem at the center of this movie. So she hits her head. She wakes up in a world where New York doesn't smell like expletive. Mm-hmm. Her apartment is ginormous and beautifully decorated and full of amazing clothes and shoes. She does kind of lose one friend, but everybody else is in her life. And her first thought is, how do I get out of here? How do I get out of here? Let me out, let me out, let me out.
I think everyone had issues with that. Seriously, that's your first thing is you want to get out of this? I mean, they played her up as that she hated romantic comedies, so she knew all about them, but she knew about them because she loved them so much, because she watched so many of them.
Right, and I'm like, look, compared to her, my life is pretty good. I actually like my apartment. I like my job. I'm well treated there and well respected. And I'm still I'd hang out for a year and try on all the clothes.
Exactly.
I can see how it would get old, but my first thought wouldn't be, let me out of here. It'd be let me try on all these clothes and shoes and run around my gigantic apartment and get tired of it, and then I'll look for a way out.
Exactly. I thought she would take it, when she said, wait a minute, I'm in a romantic comedy, I thought that she would take advantage of it immediately. All the fun stuff you could do. I mean, what she did really, it says, oh, fine, I have all these super attractive guys fall in love with me.
I mean, I did appreciate the fact that, because it's a PG-13 romantic comedy, she can't actually have sex.
Right, which is so funny.
Which is frustrating, and I can see how that would be annoying.
You could make it work out. You could do something here, gosh darn it. I mean, you could...
I could do a lot of first base with Liam Hemsworth in a year.
Exactly.
I really could.
I mean, you could do a lot. She could have taken advantage of that situation way
yeah, more. And it just was so, it was just so unrealistic. I was sure, she's immediately get me out of here. And I'm what?
No. Wait, what? No, just take advantage. Like you said, all the wonderful meals you could have. And I'm guessing that you don't get fat in this. You can't get, fat or bloated or have in this
you probably
world.
Never go to the bathroom, right?
Or get
you
sick.
have no bodily function.
Exactly.
No, you get sick. Because someone has to come take care of you.
Oh, you're right.
That's actually a rom-com thing.
Oh, you're right.
So no, you definitely can get sick in romantic comedy.
You're right.
But like, yeah, all her coworkers are really nice to her. She like gets to do big projects. I'm like, why are you so anxious to leave? Like, it just didn't. It didn't hang together super well.
I mean, like I said, they tried to tie it on to that she hates romantic comedies, but because you know so much of them, because she loves romantic comedies. That was my major issue.
And then she was like uncomfortable with the falseness of it. That like she knew it wasn't real. That everybody thought she was so great, and that she didn't like being the center of attention. But I was like,
I can do that for a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
it's fantasy. I'll take the fantasy part. Yay.
Yeah, I just really think that was they needed to address it way better than they did.
Agreed. And it also dragged at the beginning, like getting to the payoff took a little while.
I agree. I want to bring up like a couple of good things though. Like when she gets mugged, she fights like a freaking warrior.
Yeah,
and I was
great with
like, that part was awesome. Like,
that was great with her fighting. Like I like I said, her physical comedy is wonderful, and she's like taking no prisoners, like getting rough into it. Which is great.
And I like that. Like she gets knocked out by accident, like not the mugger attacking her.
Who
like
punched her in the stomach.
Like she's not at all a damsel in distress in that scene.
Well, they also had this thing when she body checked a runaway cart.
yeah. I thought that was really funny. There were some good Easter eggs. I caught a few. I don't know how many you caught.
I think I took them for granted. I'm a fan of romantic comedies, but I don't know a lot of them off the top of my head. I did like when they had the shot with Liam Hemsworth and her in the red dress, beautiful red dress, by the way. But when she's kissing the rain and how the two landmarks are somehow one block away from each other.
Well, the red dress and her first dress coming out of the hospital are both from Pretty Woman.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That clicks.
They're duplicates.
I actually have never seen Pretty Woman.
Oh.
Yeah.
Surprising.
Yeah.
Its time has come and gone. But yeah, so that was an Easter egg. I was like, shout out to all the Australian fans. In the opening bit, her mom is being really critical of her and is saying like, no one would ever like, you know, no great guy would ever marry you unless maybe he needed a visa. Right. Which I was like, Muriel's Wedding! I totally got that Australian rom-com. I was like, that was a nice one. And
I love that the Australians Liam Hemsworth and her are both Australian, and they're taking advantage of that, which was hilarious.
I thought it was like a misstep, though.
Oh, okay.
As in...
When he started speaking his natural accent?
From a sexy accent perspective, there's a reason no guy is ever Australian. There's a reason they always make them have American accents.
Oh, come on. Well, Crocodile Dundee, wasn't he like sexy back in the 80s?
No, but he was supposed to be like...
Okay, Steve Irwin. There's also a thing on Google today about Steve Irwin. So I guess the sexy Australian accent used to... Well, Hugh Jackman, he can pull this.
When does Hugh Jackman ever have an Australian accent in a movie? Never.
Australia.
Well, yeah, one movie. Like, out of how many has he made?
And he also did one in Chappie, too.
Half the time they do English accents. English accents are sexy.
And both, to be fair, both of those movies, Australia and Chappie, are not well beloved. So
I'm just saying, there's a reason.
There probably is.
There was like all the opening bars of 1,000 Miles of Vanessa Carlton, and every time was like well played. So that was pretty silly. I will give one other thing that one other like realism moment that I thought, oh my gosh, you never see this in a movie. Good for them. Right. But she has to do like a running to stop the wedding sequence, and she's like holding her boobs.
Needs a support bra.
Yeah, I was like, yes, because that's what it's really like.
But she was really booking it. She wasn't fake running it. She was really doing the whole straight arms, like booking it. But yeah, that would be a lot of pain. I've seen that for like Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, which is a TV. For the listeners, a TV show that does romantic. It's a romantic comedy musical TV show, which is wonderful.
Yeah. So I did think there was great comedy. Like, I did laugh.
Right.
The people in the movie theater laughed.
It was chuckle-worthy. I never had, like, a big hearty laugh. I enjoyed it. Like I said, I really loved the musical numbers.
So I was going to say, like, in terms of the direction, I thought the musical numbers were really well done.
Yes, agreed. That's the best part of it. It at least felt like the best part for me.
Absolutely. And
like the karaoke bar one was great.
Right.
And then the final one was also
there was all kinds of like lobster imagery leading up to that in reference to another Julia Roberts romantic comedy, My Best Friend's Wedding, which was sort of an underlying plot of the movie. So yeah, I was like, the direction was competent. Like I said, editing makes a lot for comedy. Mm-hmm. I love physical comedy, so I'm always really happy to see it. But I just thought, like, wow, those musical numbers, like the editing was tight. Cinematography was
great.
Good.
It really was nice. It was nice. I love musical numbers, and they did a really solid job. And I like dancing, so. Hey, Liam Hemsworth, not bad. Yeah, good job for him. Like, I always see him as, like he's not the lesser Hemsworth, but Nicole's giving me a look for that one. Stacey and I have had this debate, possibly on the podcast, possibly not. No, he's not. He's definitely the hotter Hemsworth. Oh, come on. No. No, I don't like blondes. So... Priyanka Chopra. Holy. Yeah. Like, we remember when we first saw her on Quantico and, like, came and followed it to the end. I couldn't get into that show went crazy. But, like, we saw her, like, she's just too pretty. She's just too amazingly stunning pretty. How can you exist in this world? You're so pretty. Yeah, I mean, I double checked. I'm like, I definitely knew the name. I don't think I've really seen her in anything. I thought she was very funny and very good. Quantico. That was her major thing, her big thing for coming to the United States. She's done a lot of Bollywood. She did a lot of Bollywood. And then she did Baywatch, which I didn't see. But I think she had fun during it, but it was not a good movie. Right. So, but, really nice. I mean, the casting was not very diverse, to be frank. Oh, well, but I think they talked about that. Which that then was like, the so then do better? Yeah, it was part of the joke that, she talks about that, romantic comedies aren't very diverse, and then she goes to the romantic world, and it kind of, like, when she does Fantasy New York, it scrubs out all the character and diversity there. Right, and they did, they did make her workplace diverse, but I was like, you're still basically telling, like, both of them love interests the guys she has to choose from are both white. Like, she's white, like... Her best friend is white. Her gay best friend is white. Like, you mean it sounds like this is Girls or something? I just was. I was like, you get yourself into really big trouble when you point it out. So that. So I know that you know better. Like, yeah, and I was kind of okay with that, especially like when they had the only black woman show up was the subway token lady who says, "You're crazy, girl," and she does they says a line twice, which makes me think that they knew that they were making fun of the whole. They got rid of diversity. Yeah, and like that was one of the things like when he goes to the fantasy world and like they get rid of all the character in her neighborhood because I love the character in her neighborhood. I liked that type of New York. It was wonderful. And I mean, that was what I was thinking when I was sort of, I've complained about how New York has changed, and then I was like, but so I would be prepared to live in a fantasy world where New York was even worse. And I was like, well, for the clothes of the apartment, I'd give it a year. Yeah, for a little bit longer. I mean, I know, it's like... You could also go all the way around the world, and then you get the fantasy sanitized version of any country. Like, I would take... And he's a billionaire. Yeah. Oh my goodness, you could have done so much. Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah, no, totally. I was so like... Burn off that budget. Money is like clearly not an option of whatever, like a problem for anybody. So anyway, yeah. So, go ahead. Levine. Adam Devine. Yeah. What is your thoughts of him? Serviceable. Yeah. I think he was right when he said 7. Part. He's a 7 all around. That's okay. I've seen him in a couple other things. They both were in Pitch Perfect together. Right. And I think that he's pretty funny. Okay. They didn't have great chemistry. It was just weird because the Pitch Perfect and I kind of blame her. Like, he was kind of working it and she wasn't giving a lot back. Well, I mean, her character was supposed to be giving, like, pushing back, but I agree with you that you could barely see the friendship because like I said, he was putting a lot of effort into it. And she was like, nah, okay. But you didn't feel the whole chemistry like he's felt with her secretary.
Yeah, and exactly. And I think it was something that I was thinking about. So I just watched, which I complained to you about over text, this like absolutely wretched top 10 like greatest romantic movies of all time. And then they gave it to Titanic and I wanted to break my television screen. And they placed Sleepless in Seattle over When Harry Met Sally, which was so...
Oh, wow.
I mean, first of all, Harry and Sally should have been one. Like...
I mean, I don't know. I get you know what my favorure romantic comedy is.
No, what is your favorite romantic comedy?
Topic.
Oh, you know I love The Cutting Edge. I don't. That's kind of on the line for me.
Really?
Like there are.
You think of it more of a sports movie than a?
I think more of a drama actually.
Okay.
Like I don't actually think of it. Like there are funny moments, but it's
totally
kind of long
romantic.
and it's very dramatic.
And it's
It's like melodramatic.
But it's totally a comedy. It's totally a comedy, and it's totally a romance because we know they're all
it's definitely a romance. Okay,
and
Either way, you know I love The Cutting Edge,
right? But
actually, like that's a good example too. Like one of the things, there was a good rerun of a Valentine's Day episode in This American Life, and it was a guy who was talking about all his favorite romantic comedies, and he was talking about When Harry Met Sally, and he's like, that entire movie is them talking to each other.
Yeah,
the whole thing, and so. It doesn't rely on chemistry. They don't need it. You see why they work together because you overhear all of their conversations.
Oh, okay, that's what you mean by that. Like, versus, like, there's no dramatic thing.
You don't need to have a falling in love montage where you see them having dinner, but you don't hear
good friends, and they're just able to be good friends for the entire thing.
Well, you hear their conversations. You see why they're in love and why they fit well together. Whereas most romantic comedies kind of gloss over, like a montage through a bunch of great dates, or do you know what I mean? Like they gloss or it's like all sharp, witty banner, but no real life.
Closeness.
Yeah,
like, it's
intimacy.
more the dialogue. Okay, versus like you can see like screwball comedies like Bringing Up Baby, or you can go like
which is a different style. I'm not necessarily complaining about the screwball comedy stuff, but I just mean like so when you have. I think what modern romantic comedies started to fall apart was they started to substitute actually building a relationship between two people. And in this, and Isn't It Romantic, like you see them hang out some, but you just hear that he thinks she's great. Like you don't really see them.
You don't see their friendship.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they say that they're best friends and you don't see them fall in love because it's just like, oh, I'm just accepting this guy who's been like being in love with me for all this time, finally getting there. Okay, I can see that.
Yeah, and I think, like, we've lost something along the way where we just...
I mean, I guess my favorite romantic comedies are all much older, like Coming to America, or you can go with, Coming to America, Topic.
Cutting Edge, yeah.
Cutting
like, you
Edge,
see that, and they have so many interactions, they have so many conversations,
and
they have so many real moments.
Humor.
Over time in the movie that
Boomerang.
when they fall in love, you're like, oh, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
But, if I think of like, gosh, like anything made in, 2000 on.
So you're saying Knocked Up is not your favorite?
Oh, gosh. But.
Well, you like Katherine Heigl. I don't. I still don't understand.
Yeah.
Heigl. Yeah, but I still don't understand her.
So I think unfortunately, to kind of close out this point, we've come to rely too much on chemistry, unfortunately. So when the actors don't have it, it really drags down the story. Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, the opposite of that is Hitch, because, like, Will Smith...
Hitch for that reason.
Will Smith has great chemistry.
So this movie definitely tried to have its cake and eat it, too.
Yeah, it tried to be angry and, like, making fun of the comedies while enjoying them. It's kind of like, I would say, the parody of Hot Fuzz. Because it had the same thing that it was making fun of action movies, but then became a super action movie.
Well, I actually meant how she has to get out of her fantasy world in the end.
It's finding and becoming and loving herself.
Yes. So, not having to need external validation and then ending up with the guy anyway.
And then her friend saying, and you have your perfect job, and you ended up with your boyfriend, and like everything worked out perfectly for you, kind of like a romantic comedy. Really, you really just had to say that. You just couldn't. Yeah.
Oh, that actually reminds me of one other thing I did like about the movie, because, like, oftentimes, and there's been so many jokes about, you know, like, the jobs that these people all seem to have in romantic comedies, and you're like, how did you get that job? There is one part of the movie where he writes his phone number on a bunch of rose petals and then, like, throws it at her, and she goes, like, there's, like, 3.6 million permutations of those numbers, and you're like, oh, she can do math. Yeah. Thank you for throwing that in to make it somewhat believable that she's a freaking architect. Like, yes. So I was like, oh, good job. Thank you.
That was nice. I liked the little montage when she's, because making fun of the montages when she's doing her art drawings for...
Yeah, her blueprints.
Blueprints for the, what was it? The parking lot?
Yeah, parking garage. Yeah, but so the movie kind of tries to sell you on this idea that romantic comedies are crap, but really everybody wants to be in one, and they just, when she loves herself...
That's when she gets freed. And I'm thinking, like, girl, you could have taken some more time, eating more of those crabs, like all that great food. Like, oh my goodness, ice cream. There's so much you could do. Like, and he's a billionaire. You could have, like, and I like that, the romantic comedy trope of, like, the first guy, the rich billionaire guy, always ends up being a jerk.
Yes.
When you get to know him.
Yeah. Yeah, so I thought, I see what they're trying to say, but I'm not sure that, like, if they really wanted to deliver that message, she wouldn't have gotten together she would have sold her big idea in the meeting, and that would have been the end of the movie, right?
Yeah, I mean, but no, they wanted a pat answer to everything. So what was your thoughts on the gay sidekick?
I thought that, he gives her kind of the only real moment in the entire movie, which was nice because it was just so much fluff all of the time.
Yeah. It
got a little bit annoying, but, they kind of address the fact that the gay best friend is really problematic.
Oh, yeah. Like, I liked, I was just reading some reviews where they were saying, oh, he's so problematic. I said, yeah, that's the point.
Yeah, that was intentional.
Turned him up to 11 because if you go back and look at those movies, they're still all pretty problematic. Like when you look at some of the stereotypes they've shown in, especially older romantic comedies, you're saying, and I can see, especially if you're not the majority, some of those stereotypes can kind of ruin movies for you. Like I can't watch Casablanca or Roman Holiday, because of some of the stereotypes from Breakfast at Tiffany's, because of some of the stereotypes, because it just pulls me out the movie. I said, yeah, I don't want to deal with this crap.
Right. And then again, it's a problem, and then you do it anyway. Like,
right. I'm glad that he made it as abusive as possible, just to make it clear the point that this was not cool back then.
But they still had it in the movie. Like,
I think that, if you're going to do it so blatantly horrible. Like they said, over the top.
Don't do it. Like I don't know.
That's also
totally
a fair
agree.
thing, but I can see it's a valid criticism.
But back to what I was saying about the theme of the movie, and I actually coming out of this, the whole point of the movie is Hollywood romantic comedies have sold us a bill of goods, and I thought, you just sold me the number one bill of goods of all the, one of the things that people always tell you, and movies always tell you, once you learn to love yourself, then you'll meet somebody, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
and I'm like, that's not how reality works. Like,
yeah, but it's still a fantasy that we want to hold on to tightly. But I agree with you. And it was making fun of the false narrative that Hollywood sells you. While
completely selling you a false narrative.
Yep.
And I just, and I was thinking about they sort of touch on some of the, they only go through the most superficial false narratives of rom-coms. Yes, rom-coms give you an unrealistic portrayal of what it's like to live in New York City.
Yes.
How many people's lives has that ruined?
I mean, I don't.
Right?
I don't know what to say about that.
Versus rom-coms have given you an unrealistic view about how women have to be. We can't be too uptight. We can't be too ambitious. We can't be, like, how many lives has that ruined? Like, fair amount.
I mean, like, it just reminds me of Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. She comes out with a full face of makeup every morning. And that's, like, it sells a false narrative, like, as you will. That's whole that everything's going to be perfectly, or if you do the right thing, everything will work out for you. You deserve love. You are owed love or a relationship if you are a good person.
Right. And, you know, so, like, that was number one.
Mm-hmm.
This movie didn't have it. Didn't tackle the line between stalker
oh, yeah.
and love interest in rom-coms.
Always very close.
It's very problematic.
Wait, isn't there a TV show called You, which is basically that, talking about, on Netflix about a stalker?
But it's like, that's a really destructive narrative that men have been told for a very long time.
Yeah. I mean, like you mentioned, persistence. If a guy is persistent enough, the woman will finally fall in love with you and she'll see how great you are, which is a wonderful, horrible life lesson.
Yeah, and there another, I forget where I was reading this. Another one too was jealousy is sexy.
Yeah.
Like violent displays, like there's just a lot of
punching them out to show that you punching out your romantic interest to show that you love them. I think that was actually in Stormy Weather. It was like, it's the big thing when he punches out the rival. So no.
Yeah, and so I felt like the movie. I mean, ultimately, it was like all the things that she complains about are like, again, really superficial things, and I'm like, this isn't what makes this. Like
problematic. The problem, you agree that the problematic of the major problematic aspects of it, that you're supposed to be persistent, and if you do right things, that the good things will happen to you.
Or, and I was thinking too, like we had, the bringing up baby, all those like sort of it happened one night had like this sort of manic pixie dream girl character, but we actually evolved into the manic pixie dream boy character where like there was just a whole series, like you tried to talk about Knocked Up. There's that one with Amy Adams set in Ireland where like the woman is super uptight and she needs some like
leap year. Leap year,
rules. Right? Yeah, dude to come along and show her the error of her ways.
We did go to the maniac pixie, but it's a slovenly boy, and like it's that was just really frustrating about like someone being responsible and being an adult is a bad thing, and you need to be freed of that. Yeah,
to find love, and I'm like, actually, like. Let me tell you what's hot when I go over to your apartment and your bed is made.
Like that article you sent me about like having pillows.
Yes, I have to post this article. That was like, so they wanted apartment therapy sort of took on the superficial aspect of the rom-coms, and one of the things they call out is like, what dude in his apartment has more than one pillow? Like, and the one he has is flat as a pancake. And I was like, truth from dating in my 20s. That's 100% right. But yeah, so it's like being responsible is how you don't
super sexy.
Yeah. You have to be shaken out of it. Or like on the reverse, like sometimes, the women are often portrayed as like these like really
shrews.
Yeah, absolute shrews. Like the Proposal, Sandra Bullock's character, and you're like,
you need to find love to not be such a jerk, and that's. Yeah, it's the, shrews, or the Taming of the Shrew type things, like Deliver Us from Eva. There's also a good example of that one, is that they just need to find a right man who can break down her barriers and open up the woman within.
But I also like the idea that I can just behave however I want, and I can be a total shrew, and some guy is going to be like, well, I want to put up with that nonsense. I mean, I wouldn't say that ruined my life, but it was a really nice fantasy to have. You know what I mean? Like, so it does sort of give you that double-edged sword of like, and all, the guy is a total player and, some woman's going to come along and like, the reformed man type thing or...
Boomerang.
Right. And I'm like, unfortunately that is what's truer to life then again is a bunch of women trying to fix a guy and then ending up, with a venereal disease.
Or you just like settle. Sorry. But.
So it's like, I guess it isn't funny and it doesn't make for drama for two like reasonable people who know how to freaking adult.
Well, to
fall in love, but...
Was it Big Sick like that?
No, it wasn't. And it's just it's kind of nice. Like, one of my most favorite ones from recent memory is The Giant Mechanical Man. And it's just about two people who are kind of lonely and they find each other. And it's really well done. And
I've never seen it.
I just, people talk about the death of the romantic comedy. And it was like, you know what? People got sick of seeing
the same story over and over again.
Yeah, and I think that's where Big Sick really shook things up.
Mm-hmm.
And you looked up a list that said, and again, as an economist, I dispute all of these box office figures. I don't know a good way to normalize them across time, but false. Like, every movie that was made before, 1950 did better than anything.
Right.
But
for recent ones, My Big Fat Greek Wedding is the #1 domestic comedy. Which it only cost $5 million to make, so they made a lot of money. It made nearly $400 million. And that was a lot of money. Just hit all those pressure points about... one of the things I was also happy is that I like it when it's the guy is hotter than a woman because it's such not usual.
Mm.
It's also Constant Wu is beautiful, mind you, but the guys in Crazy Rich Asians. Yeah.
We talked about that was so deliberate. You think Asian men aren't hot? Let us show you.
Wow.
But the thing that's funny about My Big Fat Greek Wedding, or was funny about The Big Sick, was it took you into a very specific world. They weren't tropes. Both of those stories were drawn from real life.
Right.
By both the people who wrote them lived through that very experience themselves. And it was here's a very specific group of people. And, the Greek relatives were all freaking hilarious. And anybody who has a big ethnic family could relate. You didn't need to be Greek. The number of times somebody has said to me, oh, you know how the dad is with Windex and my dad is with fill in another product, right? And it's people are still quoting that movie because it was so specific. And
well, you could do that with Jumping the Broom because that was really specific to the African American experience, especially with the class differences as well. So, and
it just seemed to me, it's just coming off of just having done What Men Want. What Men Want was actually trying to do something different and not give you stock characters and give you something else.
And that's why it did do well.
And no, actually, it's doing pretty well.
Okay.
And this movie, for all of its signposts, really just was we know that rom-com said gay back rights 10 or 20 years, and we're going to have this really obvious gay character, and we're going to complain about diversity, but then not actually really do anything particularly diverse.
Right. We get the one woman.
Because
well, she's super pretty, but that's
Asian, right?
Right, but they
go to break a whole stereotype about ugly, unexotic Asian women.
Yeah, the exoticism of treating her as an exotic person. Yeah,
that's not
yoga ambassador. So,
I thought the yoga ambassador thing was a joke, but I still thought it was misplaced.
You can't disagree.
So I just thought, they had an opportunity to do something interesting, and they, frankly, kind of failed at it.
Yeah. But I think it was just... But I guess I just saw it as something that it was always going to treat it as they're going to talk about it. And I never took it seriously enough that they were going to try to make confront the issues with the romantic comedy genre, just enough to say that, we're talking about it, and that's funny enough that we're talking about it. Listen to us talk about our issues.
I guess it's South Park, though. Good and which is not an example of good satire, right? Sometimes The Simpsons can really knock it out of the park, and it doesn't get the credit, but good satire actually does take things on and is funny, and it's you South Parked this.
Yeah.
You just made all the easy jokes.
Good example is This Is Spinal Tap, which is hilarious satire and making fun of the whole behind the music type things before it was cool.
Yeah. So I think before we get to the social impact score, we should sort of at least talk about Rebel Wilson as the, non-traditional romantic comedy star.
Right.
Although she's blonde.
Yeah. And she's Australian, so Which is like, I mean...
Maybe it's sexing women, I don't know.
I guess she's close to... she's just like Nicole Kidman, though.
She's really short, too. Which they used to good effect in the movie. I thought was really cute,
like,
actually.
her physicality was wonderful.
Yeah. But, not Katherine Heigl.
No. That's a good thing.
So, I guess, it is nice to see... And her not throw it in her face like poor Amy Schumer did.
Yeah.
It is nice to see somebody, like, with a different look.
It was nice to see her a different look. And, like, well, she did have a low self-esteem, generally. And that was her character growth, low self-esteem. I did like her outfits that accentuated her figure. Or how she looked and took control of it.
I did not think they were flattering. I thought that they didn't dress her well. But reasonable people can disagree on that. Yeah. But I also like, actually, I'm glad you brought that up. There's nothing in the movie says that she has a self-esteem problem because she's overweight.
Right.
Like, they never address it.
Great.
It's just, like, left off the table, which I thought actually was good for them.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, she delights in food and is eating all the time and never...
Yeah, they're not body shaming.
No, they're not. And... Oh, well, they do. They body shame the dude, actually. That poor Adam Devine gets body shamed.
Well, he does have that neck thing. What it called him? Chunky? Or what did she call him?
Mush.
She called him mush, which was hilarious.
Yeah, so...
Sorry, male pain is hilarious. I apologize for that.
I mean, that's actually... And she does say in the movie, like, actually, that's not okay either. Like, and it's not.
No.
So, fair enough. They did bring it up, and it was like, oh, it's like... We're not allowed to body shame women anymore. Doesn't mean we're start body shaming men.
We can still make fun of men for being stupid, and like.
Well, men are stupid.
Yeah, Chris. Not Chris. Liam Hemsworth being as dumb as a box of rocks.
Now, was that making fun of men or Australians?
I'm gonna go with men.
Oh gosh, I hope we don't have any Aussie listeners. Because I just lost them all.
Beguiling.
All right, wrapping it up. Social impact score 1 to 10.
Oof. So this one's doing okay, and I'm going to go with a 4. I'm glad to have, like you said, a woman of her stature doing romantic comedies, and her like the body positivity of it. And it's doing decently in the box office, but I can't see it having a major big impact. So maybe a 3 is more honest.
Yeah. I'm going to go with 2 because, like I said, I actually deduct points for you raising issues and acknowledging them and then doing nothing to actually take them on.
Or address them. Yeah.
Recommendation for the week?
Palette cleanser. I love Crazy Ex-Girlfriend because it's so cheerful. 3 musical numbers per episode.
But really tackles some... extremely important issues, specifically mental illness.
Mental illness, yeah. It's really great. Second one is one I'm watching also is Lorena, which was nice.
Oh, yeah. Great
documentary on Amazon Prime. It gets rough, especially the second episode, but it really talks about, especially for the younger viewers out there, the whole Bobbit controversy is a pretty big thing in American history, and at least in recent American history. I think you should know about marital rape, spousal abuse, and how things were treated back just 20 years ago. So
yeah. All right, I'm going to throw out for those of you who are not classic cinema buffs, go back and watch some of the old ones. Mm-hmm. By all means, Bringing Up Baby, Philadelphia Story, one of my favorite ones. I think Stacey actually recommended It Happened One Night on a really old episode. Like, just because they're black and white doesn't mean they're not darn good. And they're a lot more feminist than you would think. That they're actually almost better gender politics than some of today's things.
Bring Up Baby, pushing it, but yes, I agree with you.
All right, well, we hope you enjoyed this episode of Movies That Matter. If you did, take a second, leave us a review. We really love them. They help us a lot. Recommend us to your friends. Our website is moviesthatmatterpodcast.com. We've got a great store. You know you can always find us on Facebook or on Twitter with our tag at Movies Matter Pod. Alternate Thursdays, we always post the next movie. And remember, movies matter.
And so do you.
We'll see you next time.